Get off my property before I call the cops. That's what this woman screamed at my 17-year-old niece while she sat quietly on the dock behind our family's lake cabin. Not doing anything, just reading a book, feet dangling over the water like she'd done every summer since she was 5. And when the police actually showed up, well, that's when the whole damn thing exploded. Let me back up a second. We were supposed to be having a peaceful week away from everything. Just me and Emma, my niece, up at the cabin that's been in our family for over 2 decades. That place, it's not just a house, you know. It's where my mom raised us every summer. Where Emma learned to swim. Where she used to run around barefoot catching frogs. It's her safe place. Ours. So yeah, after everything she'd been through, adoption stuff, senior year chaos, just life, I thought a little peace and quiet was exactly what she needed. She smiled the minute we pulled into the gravel driveway. Said it felt like home. And not in the sweet, sentimental way, it was like she knew it was hers. But then Kara happened. Kara Johnson, the kind of woman who probably alphabetizes her spice rack and polices her neighbor's recycling bins for fun, shows up that afternoon, arms crossed like a school principal with a grudge. She didn't wave, didn't smile. Just stared at Emma like she was casing the place. A few minutes later she starts taking pictures of her. No warning, no intro, just full-on HOA paparazzi mode. So I go out and introduce myself, you know, try to keep it civil. Hey, I'm Jake, this is my niece Emma, we're just here for a little family time. But she cuts me off, introduces herself as the HOA president, then starts grilling me about Emma's guest status. She says it like it's a crime, temporary occupant, long-term violation, all these phrases that sound more like a court case than a conversation. And the way she looks at Emma like she doesn't belong. Like she's suspicious of a teenage girl sitting on her own family's dock. That night, Emma asks me straight up, do you think she's watching us? I laugh it off, but sure enough, I glance across the lake and there's Kara, a shadow behind her curtain, just staring. It gives me chills. And I can tell it's eating at Emma too, even if she doesn't say it out loud. The next morning, I head into town for groceries. Emma stays behind, just wants to read on the dock like always. 20 minutes later, I get a call. There's a police cruiser in my driveway and my niece is crying on the porch. I get there and see Kara standing with a manila folder like she's about to hand the officer a subpoena. She's claiming Emma's impersonating a family member. Says she doesn't look like she belongs, and I swear to God, there's a racial undertone there so thick you could cut it with a knife. Officer Davis looks exhausted like he's been through this with her before, but protocol is protocol. He asks for ID, for proof. So I pull out Emma's school ID, our family photos, everything. Emma's holding back tears but still manages to speak up, says, I know this house better than anyone I know, where grandma kept the chocolate, where the floorboard squeaks, where the dog creaks when you step too far left. It hit Officer Davis. You can see it on his face. She's not trespassing. She's home. But Kara isn't backing down. She pulls out more photos. Emma on the dock, Emma with a book, and says, look how comfortable she is, that's not guest behavior. And Davis just stares at her, like, lady, are you serious right now? And then boom. Kara hits us with an eviction notice. Yeah. She prints one up herself, bold letters and all, and waves it at us like it's some kind of victory flag. But here's where it gets interesting. Emma remembers something Grandma always said, that the house would be hers one day, not just in a wishful way, but for real. So we start digging through old boxes, dusty journals, yellowed papers, and bam. We find it. A signed exemption filed back in '97 officially granting our family the right to host extended guests indefinitely due to historical family usage. Stamped, sealed, notarized. Game over, right? Not quite. We take it straight to Kara's door. Hand it to her with every ounce of grace we can muster. She laughs. I mean, really laughs, like a villain in a cartoon. Says that exemption was nullified in 2022 when she rewrote the community guidelines. All prior exceptions eliminated, she says. You've got 48 hours. And that's when I realized she wasn't enforcing rules. She was targeting us. This wasn't about occupancy. It was about ownership. And her obsession with controlling this neighborhood went way deeper than paperwork. Enter Jessica, an older neighbor, quiet, sharp, used to be HOA president before Kara forced her out on a technicality. She sees what's going on and decides she's had enough. She tells us the truth: Kara's been trying to buy this house for years. My mom refused, and ever since, Kara's made it her mission to get her hands on it by any means necessary. Jessica helps us dig deeper, pulling property records, legal amendments, anything we can get. And then we find it. Turns out, when Emma's adoption finalized, my mom amended her will left the cabin directly to her. Not me. Not the family at large. Just Emma. Legally. Fully. Quietly. That means Kara hadn't just been bullying a guest. She'd been harassing the owner. We put together a plan. Let Kara think she's won. Send a mass email saying we're stepping down, respecting community guidelines, all that nonsense. She calls a special HOA meeting, invites everyone, probably hoping to humiliate us. But when the whole neighborhood shows up, and she starts her victory speech, I stand up and hand the floor to Jessica. She presents the will. The deed. The official transfer. Emma Morrison, 17 years old, is the legal owner of 472 Lakeshore Drive. The room goes silent. Kara starts screaming about forgeries, waving her own stack of nonsense printed emails, old meeting notes, scribbles, but it's too late. The neighbors aren't buying it. Even her former allies turn on her. One guy stands up and says, "You had us bully a kid." Kara's voted out on the spot. The cops open a fraud investigation. And Emma. She gets an apology from nearly everyone in that room. Not because they suddenly saw the light, but because the truth was finally too big to ignore. A few weeks later, a check arrives in the mail, $25,000, settlement for harassment, signed by Kara herself. Along with a note, handwritten, shaky, "I forgot what kindness looked like. You reminded me." Now, I don't know if it was guilt or just a desperate attempt to avoid court. But Emma read that note and said, "I hope she means it." I told her maybe she does, maybe she doesn't. But either way, you still own the house. So, let me ask you this: when someone clings to power so tightly they forget how to be human, how far should they be allowed to go? Was this justice served? Or did it go too far? Drop a comment below, tell me what you would have done. Would you fight back or walk away?